than you have. You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Oh, Miss Rusty, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast here in Pennsylvania, PA. So many PAs up in this place. Public address, performance artist, all those. I guess I'm trying to think of I can't think of another PA. There's one I'm thinking of, but I can't think of what it is that it stands for. So production assistant is the third one. There you go. That rounds off that trifecta. So thank you everybody for being here. And if you are watching and you love the content and you love the guests, but you don't want to look at my face, you don't have to. You can go pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find it. Search the Public Access Podcast. Should pop up. If you are listening to this, you can stop it and you can watch it on YouTube or on Rumble. And I think there's probably more episodes on YouTube right now. There's still a lot on Rumble I need to upload, which, may or may not happen. But if you want to know more about me, you can go to rustydiamond.net or hypnosisisgreat.com. But it's not about me, and it's time for me to bring on my special guest. And my special guest is right here and right now. And my special guest right here and right now is Michael Glowacki. How you doing, Michael? Michael,
I'm great. Thank you very much, Rusty. Thanks for having me on.
you bet. I appreciate you being on here. And so I just wanted to double check. So your lacrosse hypnosis center. So is that Wisconsin that you are in, or
Yes, in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
okay?
And
What?
it's across Wisconsin and in northern Iowa and southern Minnesota, actually.
Okay, that's my area there. I miss that area. I keep thinking one day I'm gonna end up going back there,
Nice.
buying a house or something. I was close. I was really close to buying a place in southern Minnesota and really close to a place in northern Iowa, but
Yeah.
ended up not. But another thing I found out was that the the sparkling water is from there. The that people pronounce LaCroix, but it's lacrosse, and it was made there. Is what I learned recently. Didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't know that part.
Something special from Wisconsin.
Yeah, and so you have an office there, or are you all online, or do you do both?
When the pandemic started, we moved online, and uh, so I have seen people in person, but most of them prefer to do this where it's convenient. They don't have to drive anywhere.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that was such a nice thing that happened. I was talking about this yesterday. Just before then, how difficult it was to get people to do. I'm like, you don't have to come into my place. Like I have an office, but you don't. We can do this over Zoom. It's just as effective. Like, but then it was no. I don't know. That seems like it probably won't work. And then yeah, then the all that happened, and people got really open to doing online video. And I mean, you can do telephone, you can write a letter. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's a
Sure.
really nice thing. It's just you don't really have to be anywhere. And like I still like that, like with my commercial. I think that was right about the time that I just pretty much started doing all online. And that was when I was, yeah, when I moved to um Minneapolis. And I thought that I'd be snowed in for 6 months out of the year, but then it was only one day. But the prices for to rent a place were really expensive to rent a place to do to have an office. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna double down on this, um, being able to, just have everyone stay home. And plus, no matter how comfortable or how cool you think your office is, it might be hell to somebody else. I mean, which is, I mean, I don't know. I've been into a lot of different offices, and people think, oh, this is so cool. But to me, I mean, it like not all of them are like, this is kind of uncomfortable. It feels kind of whatever may be the reason. And like, if people can sit at home, they don't have to go out. They're not going to be worried about, oh, I'm going to have to drive home in traffic. And after this, I can roll over in bed or, fall asleep in a chair or something. And what kind of difference have you seen since, or if any, since you switched over from doing or seeing people more in person to working with them more online?
I would like to I would like to do both. I see good results with people online. They're surprised that that would be like useful for them. Sometimes people I've had people say that they can't because technologically they can't. They've never used Zoom, or they don't have a webcam on their computer, something like that. But I, now people are really open to meeting in person again. They want to meet in person, and I think many people they like the experience of seeing seeing a human being. Um, you can communicate many things non-verbally in person that you don't get to so much on the screen. Here's an interesting thing. Some of your audience may know that people's brains don't work exactly the same on the screen, like on Zoom, as they do in person.
What do you mean by that?
I read a study that came up in a headline somewhere, and then I read it, and they said that they found that people's brain waves, their learning ability, is very different when they're doing Zoom meetings than when they're in person.
Yeah.
And
And
probably learned this in your training is like um the, I've seen that you've been in like had many great experts on your show, and you've interviewed some really like famous and experienced hypnosis and NLP trainers. I would say that you probably learned that a lot of our communication is nonverbal, right?
90 some percent.
Yeah, about 90% of our communication is nonverbal. And what is going on when you learned NLP, they probably also showed that there's so much information we're picking up through all five senses, not just visually, which we get visually, we get auditorily. So those are two senses, but all the other ones they're not there. We don't have the like olfactory or kinesthetic sense as much.
Yeah. Not licking as many people either. So, the number is definitely down a little bit. But
Ah, well,
yeah.
that could be something that we talk about. You know, um, I know you invited me to be on your show, and I really appreciate that. Um, I I I'm curious. Have you are you like you're working as a hypnotist? How's like what's working for you?
As far as
Well, you're doing the podcast. Like you said that you have maybe fewer clients than you used to. Um, did I understand you right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've been focused more on my podcast, and I have some other things I've been working on, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting into. I don't know. I guess I haven't been out working as much in my hypnosis as I used to be, or actively seeking out new clients as often. Just because been I don't know, things have changed, and I've gotten kind of, I don't know, how do I say it? So I don't know. I had to change gears, and I ended up taking on too much stuff, and I think I got burnout on some things,
Yeah.
and so I've been doing more of a backseat to it. But I'm working with a number of other healers, and we're getting into starting to team up to be able to do retreats and some online summits and stuff of that nature. So we're
Yeah.
working on that. We just kind of got into that. It was going to be like a podcast thing, and then it was like, okay, well, we got people here who kind of are doing the same thing. Why don't we just all meet up and and then it snowballed into now this big ordeal of
Yeah.
a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, I still do maybe, I don't know, maybe a few clients every month, not a bunch, but
Yeah.
it's not going full time right now at all, which has been okay. I just because, like, yeah, when my head's going a different way, like, I gotta I gotta
Yeah.
follow that, which is hard sometimes. It's like, okay, well, right now I just want to make music, or right now I just want to, hypnotize everybody I see, or right now I just want to
Oh,
focus on my podcast. And so, I start booking things way out, and then it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll book you for this in a while. But yeah, as far as hypnosis, it's I'm kind of picky on who I'm working with right now. Not picking up a lot of extra, or I don't know. I don't want to give somebody not me being fully into it. And I've also been working on this. So this is kind of a
yeah.
top secret that I'll tell you about here.
Okay.
Uh, so right after I started, uh, I got into float tanks, like this sensory deprivation tanks where you're in
Yeah.
yeah, where you're in the water. And so I was also into massages. And so I learned that when I was in Oregon, there was a law that you weren't allowed to hypnotize people in a room if they are naked, if they have their clothes off. There,
Right. I did
there's,
hear that.
yeah. And so then I was getting into these float tanks, and I was like, well, you know what? Like, so if you're in a float tank, at the end, they go and they turn on a little music, sort of like when you're doing a speech, and they want you to wrap it up and get off the stage. Um, you know, so I was like, well, I wonder if, like, you could play music, or, like, instead of playing music in there, record a hypnosis and play it in there while you're in there, so you kind of get like double down on the feeling good. And so went and tried it, found a place that in Portland that they did like a 24-hour place. And if you go at night, you get, I think, 2 hours, or maybe 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours or so.
Hmm.
And So my friend Crystal and I, we just took a recording I had that was like 25 minutes long, and we both put it in our tank.
Mhm.
So at the beginning, it would play it, and then we could just kind of rest the rest of the time. And it was awesome. It was amazing. And then I tried pitching it to these places, and nobody was really biting. And I tried it there. I tried it in Minnesota. I tried it in Colorado. And
Mhm.
then recently, when I moved here, I found these guys um, nearby, and they're doing said they had hypnosis listed um on their website. I was
Mhm.
like, huh, okay. So I tried it out, and it was like, I don't know, it was a couple like British people doing recordings, and it was very generic. And
Right.
like, so I told them what I thought of it and what I could do instead. And they were open to it. And like I'm told them, like, I've been trying to do this forever, and like this is not the way to do it here. Like I've been trying to, like, I got this. And so I recorded a new track, and they're testing it out now and gonna hopefully be rolling it out at a couple of their locations, and then try to do some more. And because yeah, you I don't have to be there, and they can be
Right.
naked. And
Right. I
you know,
um let's see, it's about, let's say, 19 or 20 years ago, I knew of people near in Wisconsin who were doing that too.
oh,
Um,
doing hypnosis in the float tanks?
yep, yep,
Cool. Okay.
yep. And so the interesting thing was they were trying everything. Um, you might be interested in it, like you are interested in hypnosis. I recognize that,
Yeah.
um, and you have a lot of hypnotists on your show and in your audience. I'm thinking maybe you've never really had like some of the like skills or trainings that could make a difference. I'm curious. Um, there's there's a professional society that is basically throughout North America. It's called the Master Hypnotist Society, and I don't know if you've heard of it. I sent you the link for like the show notes.
Okay.
The Master Hypnotist Society is has a president, Daniel Burrow is a PhD. He's worked with a lot of hypnotists, and the Master Hypnotist Society was founded by Scott McFall.
Okay. All
And I
right.
don't know if that name is familiar, but so the Master Hypnotist Society actually uses uh, a whole program where the marketing helps the clients or the prospective clients. We do a professional screening to determine whether hypnosis will help the clients or not before they even spend money or whether we accept them as a client. And then if we accept them as a client, we also can provide a written service guarantee because we have experience of thousands and thousands of clients in all of the different hypnosis clinics that are using these methods.
Yeah.
And there's some there's some like similarities. There's a lot of um, special neurolinguistics and hypnosis techniques that we use every day, and the way it has like a almost a curriculum with like, here's the material that the clients learn and use, and they get the results. And
Okay.
the really interesting thing is, a lot of the clients, like say 20% of the clients, end up becoming students, and some of those end up becoming hypnotists. So this has been growing for the last 15 years. I met the founder, Scott McFall, 19 years ago. Well, yeah, I met him 19 years ago. we talked, and he invited me over to like learn. And the reason I found out about it was there were some hypnotists that I knew after I got trained, and they said, "Oh, you need to meet him and talk to him." Well, he's retired. He stepped back and handed this over to the trainers, the Master Hypnotist Society. Uh, and you're near. Let me think. You're near. One of them is in Washington D.C. There's
Yeah,
probably
it's about 2.5 hours.
yeah, not very far from you. Rita Leipard in Washington D.C. She's really really good trainer, and
Okay.
lots of people in the District of Columbia and the region. Um, we're going to be having a World Hypnosis Summit actually November of 2024, November 8th through 11th. It'll be in San Diego. Now I know that's on the other side of the country from you, but you might enjoy the trip in November.
Yeah. So who is it going to be, like a bunch of hypnotists that are going to be there in the audience, or is it going to be a bunch of other people and there's going to be a bunch of hypnotists talking?
Yeah, there's about 18 trainers over 4 days in person. So this
Okay.
really powerful experience for transformation and learning skills that you use every day in your hypnosis clinic or in life. It's open to anyone, but we are really really wanting hypnotists and other professionals or people in counseling or therapy to come to this so they can learn these methods and actually learn like the comprehensive model so they can like practice management model, and that can make a difference as far as like being a full-time hypnotist or somebody who dabbles in it and does other things to pay the bills.
Yeah. Um, and so is it like a hands-on, or is it a bunch um of talks from um the teachers,
Well,
I
yeah,
forgot
the
what term,
trainers like I'm
trainers, I'm sorry.
what we're planning the World Hypnosis Summit right now, but people are registering for it. It's about half full, and it's a
Okay.
limited seating because obviously we're in physical space. Um, and the beautiful thing is that it's very reasonable, a reasonable fee for 4 days in person. And there'll probably be some demonstrations and some hands-on experience because I think while there'll be a large group of attendees, say approximately 65, 70 people, um, we will have opportunities for um, breakouts. Perhaps we'll have a breakout sessions. We'll have some other, like I said, demonstrations. And I think if people want some hands-on skills, there'll be opportunities for learning that too, because these are techniques that hypnotists have been using um, from Canada throughout all of Canada, all of the United States. Um, for example, things that you've probably learned, but just in little pieces. Like there's a piece here, there's a piece there, and bringing it all together and integrating neurolinguistics with it, um, in order to have a knowledge when you meet a client. How would it be if you met a client and you knew essentially you could make it in about 30 minutes, make a determination whether they're going to be successful and have like a plan for them, or when they sign up for a program with you, then you're pretty confident that they can get that plan.
So when you say a program, are you talking like having them sign up for, you know, 3 to 5 sessions then right off the bat to work on different things, or it's what
Yeah,
you're,
we often find that when we say, okay, we're talking about a program, yeah, multiple sessions is usually the most ethical way because, say, an example, if somebody comes to you for weight loss, they can't lose 50 pounds in a week, right?
yeah,
That would be a completely different method. Or they'd be going to
right.
something else for that. Um, But if somebody wanted to lose like 40 or 50 pounds, that would take like 6 to 8 or 10 months to do it in a healthy way. And they want the lifestyle so that they keep it off.
So do you work with a number of people who uh, come to you for weight loss? It still seems like that's one I get calls for a lot. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't know what your experience has been with them, but I
I,
can talk about Barbara, one of my clients. She lost, let's see, I'm trying to recall. She lost 58 pounds in 9 months. And this was after she retired from her job. So she was like in her 60s, and she was just thrilled with how well it worked.
sure.
Uh, I
And
was, you know,
go
I
ahead.
I guess your question is, have I worked with people? Yes, that we've done a lot of work with people for weight loss and quitting smoking and habits. Like, sometimes somebody will have like a habit they don't want anymore, like chewing their nails.
Right. So do you give them the what's your chewing nail strategy, or do you kind of change it with people? Do you do the I was taught the basically anytime you have that, like it's gonna either be like maybe not dog shit, but maybe something similar.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
and it's an interesting
Like
one.
some kind of an aversion method, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And
Well, okay. If you tried to accomplish that with one visit, I don't know if they'd even want to come back after that.
right. And so, but yeah, so you're wanting the people to come back because like repeat customers are
Not just repeat customers. When we do a program, we can take the risk away from them because we can provide a written service guarantee. If you try to provide a guarantee with a one session thing, you get a lot of demands for refunds.
so what
And I
would
think
if
before,
multiple?
I'm sorry I wasn't
That's
finished.
cool.
As I said before, the more ethical way is to do the program, because the programs, you see people the first week, they're different the next week. Okay. They might have
Right.
quit smoking or they might have stopped biting their nails. And that's amazing. That's great. But what if they didn't? You know, what if they stop on the second, third, fourth session? What if they stopped an unwanted habit at that point? But if you only see them once and you don't ask them, that you don't plan for them to come back, or they're not expecting that, then they would say, well, hypnosis doesn't work, or it worked for me for a while, but then I went back to my habit, that kind of thing.
So if it's, let's say, 4 times, so if they're coming in 4 times, and let's say after the first session it works for 2 days, and then they go back to it, and then you do it again and kind of reevaluate where they are with that and
Yeah,
go from there, and come up with a new session for that, and then maybe then they good after that, then you just kind of reinforce it for the next two. um
right.
so like how
So,
with the guarantee, what is the guarantee?
well, because we're doing a program, we take the risk away from them because we know that there's a measurable outcome. Say the measurable outcome is the person stops smoking for the rest of their life. That's the result they want. I mean,
Yeah,
I think you could probably count on one finger the clients who came to you that only wanted to quit smoking for temporarily, right?
right,
Right.
right,
Same thing with the weight loss. They want to lose the weight. They probably tried diets. They probably tried gym memberships, which exercise is a good thing. Eating properly is a good thing, but they might have tried pills or shakes or something like that. And when they stop those things, because people can't keep that up forever, they go back to their old problem. They gain the weight
right.
back. So the measurable outcome is the point of taking the risk away. If they say understand and they want to do the program because they believe it's going to work for them, and we're confident that it'll work for them, then they can do the program, reach their goal, and we want them to continue to keep that result. So the guarantee is oriented toward them getting the results and keeping those results. In fact, you could learn all this, in November, or you might contact Rita, or you go to the Master Hypnotist Society.com and look for the trainers. There's a list of trainers, and you can find the closest one to you geographically, or you can find like some, like, say, oh, well, I like the way this person, I have a you know simpatico, somebody I just read about, you want to find out more about them, interview with them, and see if they'll accept you as a student.
Yeah. Um, and so okay, so then back to the weight loss. I mean, so do you ever go in there and then so I mean, with that one, it usually seems like there's usually something under that, some underlying something usually that's from before then, which may be, you know, attributing to the
Uh-huh.
gaining weight or wanting to, lose weight. Is that ever something you come across, or is that
For
usually
sure. For sure,
yeah,
there's benefit to keeping that extra weight around, like a protection mechanism. Maybe it's a way of avoiding relationships that are painful, or it could be a physical thing too, and we would refer that person to a physician or some other health professional if it's, there's signs that it's a physical, whether it's hormones or thyroid or something else. We definitely like cooperating with the other professions,
for
because
sure.
they could be sources of referral. They We have a lot of doctors and nurses that become clients as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd rather kind of like what you were saying, like I don't want somebody to, if have one experience that isn't great with hypnosis and be like, well, this isn't it. Or, someone that uh wants to try hypnosis, but they don't like me. And like I don't represent all hypnosis. There's a fair amount of other hypnotists in the world, and I would happily be like, well, before you do that, like let me give you some names of some people like I think will much better work with you. Because
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I sometimes will be a little more blunt about it, and but I would rather someone, because I know how well hypnosis works. I'd rather someone get it than just be like, well, I don't like Rusty, so like yeah, hypnosis, like
um,
forget that.
it's
Um,
hard to believe, Rusty, that they don't like you, but
I don't know. I don't know. It can happen.
yeah, that it
And
happens. It happens to every hypnotist, to every professional in the world. Somebody has a bee in their bonnet, and they're like, "Well, you said this word wrong." You
yep,
know,
and then they're off,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's no stopping them.
yeah.
And
So the benefit of doing the screening is that um, you can have that interaction, and just like either prevent that from happening, perhaps determine if that person may not be a good candidate, because you probably learned in your training there's people who shouldn't be hypnotized.
yeah,
And then naturally sometimes there's somebody who wants hypnosis, but they don't like the hypnotist. We say, well, we have other hypnotists in our professional society that you know we we refer between each other all the time.
yeah. And I mean, I don't take offense, and I mean, yeah, I'd much rather someone be able to get the benefits of hypnosis from someone who
Mhm.
they connect with. Because I mean, if you got to work with a hypnotist that you really connect with, and you're really on the same level. Like there are some people that are on the same level with me, and it's great, and we can do all kinds of stuff that people would never believe in a million years. But the people who aren't, gonna be with me. Like I hope that they find somebody else who they can have that level of connection with. And I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And so like what got you into hypnosis? Where'd you, I mean, you probably have answered this a number of times, but I always like it, you know,
It's a good question, and I'm glad you asked.
I always like it.
I discovered hypnosis and self hypnosis when I was experiencing chronic migraines. They were many times a week, almost daily, and debilitating. And using hypnosis, I discovered that hypnosis was really effective with the management of pain. And of course,
Absolutely.
I checked with I had great doctors, but the medications were not producing the results. So I found the hypnosis was so effective for managing my situation and improving my life, that I, you know, I could go back to work. I realized this is a profession I want to pursue because it helped me so much. And that's what we also find a lot of our clients do as well. They want to study hypnosis to apply it in other ways, like as parents or, it, at work, better communication, better skills of reading people. If, you know, obviously being able to determine their hidden agendas, the hidden agendas of the people at work, big help, right?
Sure. Yeah.
That's kind of like the game of office politics is that other people have these agendas. They say something to your face and then they do other things in the background. They'll, you know,
Yeah.
being able to read all that and see. The other amazing thing is that their lives are better personally. They change and have not just better results physically in their health, like quitting smoking or getting better sleep and losing weight. They also, like I mentioned, how people come for what the problem is, what they say the problem is, and you ask, okay, yeah, do you find that there's other things going on under there? Well, yes, but the thing is, the measurable goal, while they transform into the person who has that lifestyle of that measurable, like like slender and fit person, they're they're happier, they're healthier emotionally and physically, because
Yeah.
they have to transform in order to be that. And we find that a lot of people get into hypnosis to transform or solve a problem. You
Yeah.
asked, how did I get into it? So I, I pursued training, and I kept looking for training that produced results for clients because um, I had a lot of training before I met Scott McFall and before, I learned about the whole system in the Master Hypnotist Society. And, you know, working together with the other trainers, we've like, well, we're committed to the success of the entire profession. We want hypnosis is a profession that you probably run into people don't quite understand. They think it's about the stage hypnotist, which is
Every
great.
time.
Stage hypnotist is funny and ethical. Like we want the ethical people to be doing the stage hypnosis, right?
Right.
We want the good
And
hypnotists to be doing the stage hypnosis.
yeah. I mean, like, there's so much with that too. Like, a lot of people, for some reason, that's all they can't get that out of their head. That's usually one of the first things, and it's just like, nope, not what I do. And like,
Sure.
but then I like there's really really bad and dark stuff you can do with hypnosis.
Well, like
And
you can use a drinking glass to
yep,
like hold your juice or water, and you can use a drinking glass for other nefarious things. Any
right,
tool. It's
right,
about, well, intention and the intended outcome, like the desired outcome. So yeah,
right,
sure.
yeah,
People might
yeah,
have seen something embarrassing in a stage hypnosis show, or they might have seen a stage hypnosis show where everybody was excited and happy. That everybody who was hypnotized was proud they were up there.
yeah. Or yeah, the people who say like, I was at I get this one a lot. I was at a stage hypnosis show, and they brought me up there, and but then they sent me back down, but I never got hypnotized. I'm like, okay, yep, sure, okay. Tell yourself that.
Possible, possible,
Yeah,
possible. That's an element of the performance is keeping the most responsive people up there. But it
yeah,
also could say something about the hypnotist on stage.
yeah. And but I mean, like, so what I was getting at was there's like MK Ultra or
Oh,
really bad subliminal messaging and stuff like that sort. But then like if there's that good or that bad, equally there has to be that good. And like that's what we do. Like if that stuff can be that bad, like think about what it can do on the other side. Like
yeah.
on the
It-
on the nice side of it, the good side, the
right.
the light side of the Schwartz. Um
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like that. Keeping in mind that if I tell you don't think about the orange cat, you think about
right.
the cat, and then you try
Yeah.
not to think about it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Purple monkey.
what we try,
Uh
yeah, what we try to think about is the outcome. The mindset and the strategy has to be oriented around the results and focusing on what the client needs and wants. Um, we're we're all about helping the client get that. In fact, learning self hypnosis and learning these techniques for clients helps them essentially be inoculated against mind control. They can notice, oh well, somebody was doing something and I realized I didn't want to follow their instructions and I just didn't, you know?
yeah.
But there's
They do.
and out of ignorance, people are very susceptible to, like you mentioned, mind control and manipulation and stuff like that and propaganda. Of course, all of that, they use the human mind. If they didn't address the human mind to communicate those ideas, they wouldn't get the results they wanted.
Right.
But also great things happen because of the human mind. You know about the great accomplishments and things, people you admire, all of their results they had to conceive of and take action on.
Yeah. And I mean it's great. Like there's not really too much that can't be done with hypnosis to make you better. And I mean, but yeah, like once you do one thing, then it's like, oh yeah, well, okay, I guess yeah, there was that other thing that I forgot about, but that came up, so probably next time I should do that. And it's like the guy that trained me, he was big on really trying to be able to have everyone that he, you know, sent through his program to be able to teach as many other people self hypnosis, like to be able to make sure that everyone in the world can learn self hypnosis. Basically, is kind of what one of his big things was,
Right.
and
Right.
I like that. I think, like you're saying, like just being able to pick up on something, or like I said, not being able to have pain, like volume of the pain turned down for even for a few minutes, like is unreal.
Yeah. Keeping in mind, I like just briefly mentioned that, checking with my physician to make sure that, like, I was already getting adequate medical treatment. Like, and and if somebody comes to a hypnotist for pain management, of course hypnosis is effective for pain management, but unfortunately it would might not be indicated if they had cancer or some other organic cause that needed to be dealt with, because pain is a useful signal. You
Right,
probably, when people learn pain management, hypnotists learn pain management, they know that pain has a purpose, a benefit for the person, is in order to tell them that they need to address a problem. Could be an
which
injury, could be a disease, something that needs to be treated. So we always refer people, somebody comes to me for pain management. I had a screening a few weeks ago. A father asked me to do the screening with his daughter, and after we completed the screening, I said I would only accept this client after the doctors fill out, basically determine that hypnosis is appropriate. If there's a contraindication or reason hypnosis shouldn't happen, then the doctor has to tell the client that hypnosis is not appropriate in their case, in their
And
situation.
so what happens when you get people that because yeah, with the it being either, you know, the has all kinds of medical benefits or, has zero medical benefits, kind of goes and or like what people really think of it, like if you want to say like for example, um you know if there's people who are skeptical or not really into like hearing the word hypnosis, and then you tell them guided meditation or something, and then that, which is the same thing basically, and they're more open to it. Is that something you ever coming across?
Not not so much.
Okay,
Not much. The
cool.
people who reach out, they know that hypnosis is part of the process. In fact, a lot of them reach out because they've tried other things and nothing else worked. You probably have heard this story yourself, and a lot of your people in your audience have heard this story, is that they tried everything else, nothing else worked, so they want to try hypnosis because they saw that, oh, um, this woman lost 40 pounds or 60 pounds using hypnosis. And
Right.
well, I don't care if it's hypnosis. I just want to, they say, if it worked for her, maybe it'll work for me. I want to find out.
Yeah. And so then like what about like with smoking then? If someone comes up to you and says, my wife wants me to quit smoking. What do you do in that case when you're doing a screening for that?
Well, I schedule the screening. If somebody walks
Oh,
up to me and says, hey, I heard you're a hypnotist. I want to quit smoking. Well, I schedule the screening because we want to do the screening with their undivided attention,
right.
right?
And yeah,
And the process of the screening, that is, there's a lot of phases. It's pretty complex. So, a big part of it is trot. We'll be talking about this at the summit, or if you're working with a, we can't just describe it in 15 minutes. If I tried to summarize in 5 or 15 minutes how to do the screening, it wouldn't cover all the information that's necessary in order to do a successful screening for the benefit of the client. And the screening is also to benefit the hypnotist because, as I said, you know, say like, a certain small fraction of people who come to hypnotists shouldn't be hypnotized, so they should be referred out.
right. Like they can't be hypnotized at all, is what you're talking about?
Well,
Those kind of people,
let's be blunt. Some people who have a mental illness shouldn't be hypnotized. They
like
might have,
narcissistic.
yeah, those, there's different reasons that somebody's not a good candidate because,
Right.
well, there's different disorders, personality disorders, or um,
Yeah.
um, you know, maybe they need medication, or they're on medication. They may not be appropriate for them to be hypnotized. You know,
Right.
so
Uh,
again, if I discover that somebody's like if they report to me that they have something going on or that they're seeing a therapist, I refer them back to their therapist. I don't need to try to steal clients from other people.
Yeah.
Sure. Sometimes I've had clients come to me who want to quit smoking, and they're they try I've even had people hide that there's something going on, you know. And
That
I discover that, then I, you know, refer say, look, I have to refer you back to the professional you're seeing, or,
yeah.
you know, let them go. It's for their best interests, and it's also for the best interests of the profession. You don't have a license as a counselor or drug counselor or therapist, and you probably have more freedom for that reason.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't want to be doing that. Like I have no desire to work with that, but there are people who do, and people who I'm
There are
glad
some
to refer them up to.
excellent people we can refer them to, definitely. You know.
Yeah. And then
And
go,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that um, the a lot of the fascinating work that hypnotists get to do, helping people quit smoking, helping people um, like become slim and fit, drop unwanted fat, helping people with just those two things. You're helping each individual change in a profound way. They can actually, their relationships will improve, you know, their satisfaction at work will improve, their health will improve tremendously. These are really,
Absolutely.
and um, you know, a lot of a lot of um, people really need our help. There's a lot of people who need the help of hypnotists because, gosh, you see how stressed people are, and there's a lot of changes taking place that people are having trouble dealing with.
Right. And I mean, spend what, an hour, hour and a half maybe, and change your life. It's not too hard. Like,
Sure, and the other benefit of the practice model that we teach hypnotists to use is they can actually see more clients through the day without being exhausted. You mentioned an hour and a half session. If your sessions involved, um, if you're able to work with clients in a way that um, helps them, they have a more profound and deeper experience and better results. And you're able to see, if you're able to see five, or I Heather McFall, when she was working in North Carolina, she was in Raleigh, North Carolina, she was seeing people, about 10 people a day, and sometimes on other days she could see as many as 15. How would you do that? Well, that's part of the system and the methods we work. She worked really hard, and the benefit of having this in programs is people are having like their expectations set properly so they get the results, um, and see through each session that they go through in the program that they're making progress, their behaviors are changed, they're excited about the results, and they want to keep coming back for other things. They want to keep coming. We do group classes and trainings in every clinic, you know,
okay.
and
And
that's,
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I mean that's I loved that. Like that was great, just being able to spend time hypnotizing each other. That's pretty nice being able to do that. Um and then so how are people going to be able to find that again, to be able to either join those or go to that summit or
So,
follow you?
so to first for the summit and also for learn more about the Master Hypnotist Society, go to masterhypnotistsociety.com, and there's information right there about the summit. There's other information about the hypnosis trainers. If people want to learn more about me, find more about the type of work I do as a client as a student, go to lacrossehypnosis.com. There'll be a link, I believe, in the description. So lacrosse, LACROSSE, hypnosis.com. And be more than happy to set up an interview or screening for somebody who wants to learn more and see whether we could accept them as a student or a client.
Perfect. Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate getting to talk with you, and that you went along for the ride to wherever we were going to and wherever we got to. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. And hope you have a great rest of your day. All right.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you so
You,
much. I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
your guest.
Absolutely. All right. Bye. All right. So that's Michael Glowacki. So um, hit him up. Check out the stuff. I'll put in the links that he was talking about. It'll be easy. All you have to do is just scroll through. You're already listening or watching. You just scroll through, you find the links, and there it is. Boom, that easy. So thank you, everybody. You want to check me out, rustydiamond.net or hypnosisgreat.com. And that is the show. Man, boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.